Do you want to take better notes in your lecture classes? Notes that actually help you study? Today I'm going to give you some practical tips and show you a method that can transform the way you learn. Let's start with your actual notes. During lecture, your professor is presenting the information that you'll need to know for a given class. And your notes should capture that information and be as clear and organized as possible. So what's a good way to organize your notes? I recommend the Cornell note-taking method. Now, if you've never heard of this method, or you don't have a Cornell notebook, let's go over the basics here. So the Cornell method has a specific layout. The width of the page is divided into two columns. So this first column is called the Q section, and it's around a third of the page, or 2.5 inches in width. And the second column takes up the width of the rest of the page, and this is where you just take notes as you normally would. And a lot of Cornell templates have a summary section at the bottom. The template that you see here, I've created and optimized for what makes sense for me. And I find that in lecture classes, ranging from science to literature to philosophy, I need around 2 pages for notes per lecture, and I do take a lot of notes. So having a summary section at the bottom of every page is a waste for me, but I will go over the summary section and how to use it in the next slide. Okay, so this left-hand column, or your Q column, eventually will serve to extract the structure of the lecture, by doing that, it will give you an outline of the lecture. This makes it much easier to find topics later on to review. In the left-hand column, when you review, you can annotate and convert your notes into questions or cues, which makes studying active. And this left-hand column is what makes the Cornell system so powerful in terms of organization. Now, the right-hand side is where you take notes as you normally would. So during lecture, you take notes here, and then during your review, you'll go back and use the left-hand column to generate your outline and review. When you are taking notes in lecture, focus on the important ideas. So anything that your professor emphasizes or makes note of on the board, pretty much anything that you'll be required to know or will show up on an exam, you want to record in this area. Like I said, the real power of Cornell notes comes after class. Try to review your notes within 24 hours. This is the habit that dramatically improves recall and helps you stay ahead. Okay, now let's talk about how to actually review your notes in a useful manner. First, set aside around 10 minutes. This is just a review. Remember, you don't need to memorize everything right now or fully understand everything in detail. The goal is simply to review, and it doesn't need to take long, just a few focused minutes. Start by rereading your notes from the lecture, but don't just let your eyes scan the page. Read for understanding. Next, if your professor didn't provide a clear outline, this is your chance to create one. In the left-hand column, construct an outline of the lecture by assigning a brief 1 or 2 word heading to each major section of your notes. These concise labels will clarify the structure of the material and guide you later. Also in the left-hand margin of your Cornell page, identify other important concepts, important equations or definitions, and any questions that you have currently. If something doesn't make sense, mark it, but don't skip it. We'll come back to this. Now finally, and one of the main points of the Cornell system is the summary of the entire lecture. In most Cornell templates, the summary section is at the bottom of the page. And what you want to do is in 3 to 5 sentences, you just want to summarize completely the entire lecture. And what this forces you to do is it forces you to 1, identify the most important concepts, and then 2, kind of make connection between all the concepts presented and condense it down into your own words. So this is just another step that makes you actively engage and think about the material. And that is the step that really makes the Cornell system powerful. Okay, after you finish reviewing your notes, I would suggest that you take a new page and transfer all the concepts that you need to know or you think you need to know, you want to study more onto a new page. Doesn't have to be fancy, just leave space in between them. Like I said, this is the setup for the recall method, and I'll show you how to use that in a second. For each topic, you want to do a brain dump. Essentially, what that means is you're just going to write down everything that you can recall about a topic without looking at your notes. And if you feel uncomfortable because you can't recall everything, that's actually good. This little struggle moment is when the learning is reinforced. So give each topic a few minutes of focused effort, and then go back to your notes and fill in what you missed. Maybe even use a different color. Those additions show you exactly what your brain is still learning and what you need to focus on. So this combination of organized notes plus review plus recall is really where the real power comes in. All right, and I have one more step that turns your recall work into an actual study plan. And what I suggest is that you make a list of the topics that you didn't remember very well during the brain dump and all the question marks that you had from your Cornell review step. These are your personal weak spots, and identifying them gives you a custom roadmap for what you need to study. Then schedule it. The when and the where. Decide how you'll do this. Maybe it's office hours. Go, even if you're nervous at first. Your professors and TAs are literally there to help you. Maybe it's your textbook. Take a concept that you're not sure about, and you don't have to start from page 1. Just read the section that matches the topic that you struggle with. Maybe it's YouTube. There are amazing educators who may explain something in a way that finally clicks for you. Find these channels that are beneficial to you and use them. Study sessions with friends. Meet, join a study group, go to the library, or even solo study sessions work if you plan it intentionally. I do have one final suggestion. I would suggest that you take notes of what you have to keep looking up or reviewing when working on homework or study. So this information can be anything from equations, terms, definitions. Just keep a list of it as you go. If you can have a note card on exams, this material should go on that. And if you identify this throughout the unit, you don't have to spend so much time the night before the exam. Also, it's really helpful for cumulative exams at the end of the year. It's kind of a list of what you know that you struggle with. Also, remember that the system is a habit. While it's not much, 10 or 15 minutes review here, 10 or 15 minutes brain dump here, it does and it may take a second to integrate into your schedule. Try this for a week, just a week, and see if it changes how you study. I think it will. You can use this system with any notebook, and I hope that you did find some tips that will help you retain your lecture information. If you want the pre-made pages with the Cornell Recall and study plan sections built in, I have created this notebook. I'll add the link below, or you can search Cornell and Recall Notebook on Amazon. My notebook is a KDP notebook, so Amazon doesn't show inside the book, but the pages look exactly like I've shown here. It's an 8.5 by 11 inch colored ruled book, and I have 2 versions. The blue version has 48 topic sections. So each topic section includes 2 Cornell pages, the full page and then 1 page with a summary section, a recall or a brain dump page, and a missed information study plan page. And then at the back I've included 10 key concept boxes so you can track what to study for each unit or keep track of the material that you want on a cheat sheet. This gives enough space for a class that meets 3 times per week in a 16-week semester. I also have a green cover version, which has 28 topic sections, so if you prefer a smaller notebook, this is for you. I hope this helped, and happy studying.